days now. Got home on a Friday to catch back up over the weekend, but I was still waking up really early. So anyway, where have I been? So I originally flew into London from the United States, which is where I'm from, but immediately got on a train up to Yorkshire, specifically Harrogate, which I've never been to Harrogate before, but it was very lovely. I guess I'll run you through the itinerary first, and then I'll break it down with pictures. So, a couple of days in Harrogate and the Yorkshire area, then back down to London, like 3 days in London, and then I took the Eurostar to Amsterdam in the Netherlands. 2.5, 3 days there in Amsterdam. Then I took a train to Bruges in Belgium, and a day and a half there, and then Eurostar back to London, and I was there for like another 4 more days before flying back home. So mainly London, Amsterdam, and Bruges, a little time in Yorkshire, but just those 3 countries. I had never really been to mainland Europe before. I've spent loads of time in England, but that was my first time in the Netherlands and in Belgium. I was actually supposed to go to the Netherlands for a wedding in 2020. Well, let's see, the engagement happened in like New Year's 2019, 2020. So the wedding didn't happen. So I did not go to the Netherlands, so I finally got to go. So let's break it down, I guess. I have my phone. I can look at my pictures and like work through day by day what happened, so I won't forget, because I totally will forget. So it was my first time in Harrogate, as I said. I've spent a lot of time in Yorkshire. I think that is mainly where I've been in the UK. My partner's from Yorkshire, and I've lived there for several months, but I'm also very familiar with London. So I haven't been to Harrogate, but it was very pretty. This was a family visit trip. Leia's here. So it was primarily like I'm wearing the same top. How funny is that? I love this top. It's really light and silky, and it actually was very hot about 95% of the time I was there. Oh gosh, I forget the temperature conversions. Let me see, let me look at them up. I'll explain roughly. So I'd say on average it was in the mid 80s to low 90s Fahrenheit, so 30, 31, 32 degrees Celsius. It was very hot. Also very stale and humid a lot of the time. But the couple days I was in Harrogate were some of the cooler days. I did need a jacket. So I walked around this lovely botanical garden, and I did a little bit of shopping. Well, not really. I just went in the Yorkshire Soap Company, which is really fun, and got a couple of candles, and met a friend I just completely stopped myself like mid-sentence. It's terrible. Lay's chewing on her arm. So I think I was just saying we all squeezed into one bed and no one slept very well. But this was our first couple of nights in Harrogate. Let's see, went to a pub, went to another nearby city the next day, then went down to London and met back up with the same friend who then took a train down to London to hang out. And we had hot pot, which was really bad. It was honestly one of the worst hot pots I've ever done. And it was a chain that I've been to before. If you know RØDE hot pot, they're big in Asia, but there's some in the United States and Europe. And I've been to the one in Chicago with the same friend, and we had a great time. The London one was terrible. Not a good hot pot experience. Honestly, I was expecting to like eat so much great food and all that, and I primarily felt pretty let down by everything I ate. I don't know if I think my palate is just changing, and I'm used to eating like different kinds of things and different quality of things. I don't know, but everything was like not great, including the hot pot. The best thing I had for sure was Dishoom. It's like my favorite British restaurant. And the first morning in London, the next day, we went and got breakfast there. And it was a really cute Dishoom. They all look a little different, but this one had like a Art Deco kind of theme. Very cute. And Dishoom never disappoints, although they have sprouted up so much more than the last time I was there. The last time I was in England was in 2020. So yeah, it's been 4 years, and there were, I want to say there were like 3 Dishooms then. Like there was one in Edinburgh, which I ate at. There was a couple in London, which I ate one. But yeah, they've spread out a lot, and I ate there again another night. So the next day, it might have been the next day, after Dishoom, we went to the Natural this always really confuses, you know, when like you're outdoors somewhere and they go, where are you guys from? I have to say, like, I'm American, and he has to say, and I'm English, and then they're like, how did that happen? You know, it's very weird if you're international, apparently. So we had to stop and explain that pretty much every time someone asks, which was more often than you would think. But the canal tour was really lovely. It was insanely hot, and then when we got back to our hotel room, we saw that we were sunburned. Cool. I did bring sunscreen, and I put it on my face like every day, but I'm not always good about putting it on the rest of my body. So my face was fine the whole time, but the rest of me was pink. Sorry, someone just messaged me. So without a doubt, my favorite part of Amsterdam, the buildings and the canals, specifically the buildings on the canals. It was so picture perfect and gorgeous, and I would definitely come back. I feel like there's more to see and do, and I'd like to do day trips outside of Amsterdam to other parts, and I'd like to go to other parts of the Netherlands too. I have a friend from the Netherlands, so that's whose wedding I was gonna go to. And then I also have my friend Micah, who's known as Miss Vindycat, and I'd love to go visit her one day. So it's a beautiful, beautiful country. 10 out of 10 recommend, and it was really, really fun. Let's see. We got really hot, so we got bubble tea at this really, really tiny spot where it's just like a little tiny room that you're in, and you place your order on a screen, and then the people making the bubble tea are above you, and they send the tea down on a little conveyor belt, which I thought was really fun, although they were clearly backed up because we waited like 20 minutes. That night I found a place to go get some Dutch apple pie, so we had the classic like Dutch apple pie. I don't know. I really liked it because it wasn't very sweet. I really liked being able to taste the apple and all the spices that they put in the cake. It's a cake or a pie. It was like more of a cake because of how tall it was, and then they put an absolutely insane amount of whipped cream next to it. So it was really delicious, and we probably could have shared one, but we got two. It was really nice. The next day was our last day in Amsterdam, and we started by eating blinis, and they're like Russian. And I had a really fun savory one with truffle oil. I told you I love truffle. Microgreens, spinach, and a pear. And the pear, oh, there was cheese inside too. The pear and cheese is such a good combo. I love it. But with that truffle oil, oh, and there were some pine nuts. It's such a fantastic combo. And then we split a sweet one with a sweet jam for dessert. That was really nice. Afterwards, we went to the botanical gardens that are in the city, and they are one of the oldest botanical gardens in Europe, in the world. I don't know, it was quite small, but it was really beautiful. It was still a really hot day, but the highlight for me of the botanical gardens was seeing a sequoia, a live sequoia tree, a redwood. It is quite small as far as redwoods go. I think it's only 40 years old or so. I'm pretty sure it was planted in like the late 70s. So not too big, but they said it, or a little plaque said that this was their most hugged tree, which I thought was so cute. I did not hug the tree, but I did give it a little soft pat and tell it it was a beautiful tree. For some reason, they had some art installation where a local artist had like made jewelry for some it is actually quite peaceful if you listen. It's like really relaxing to just kind of hear the water trickling, and you can see how lovely it is, and I just really enjoyed that. There was also a little butterfly house. You know, it's in like a little greenhouse, and there were so many butterflies in there. Lovely. You could watch them. They're crazy long little proboscises going crazy and all the flowers, and it was insanely hot in there because obviously butterflies like a warm climate, so they were keeping it really warm in there, and it was already warm outside, and the sun is beating down in this little greenhouse, so we were roasting alive in there and left quite quickly. As we were leaving, we're walking along the canals, and we see a film crew on one of the boats. So we were like, I wonder what they're filming. Figured it was something local, but then on another boat, my partner pointed out that it was Phil from Somebody Feed Phil. I've watched the show because when I was in Chicago visiting my friend and we ate at the hot pot place, we also ate at another place that had been mentioned on Somebody Feed Phil. So she's like, let's watch this episode before we go eat there. So I became introduced to Somebody Feed Phil from her, and then he did a video, or he did an episode in the city I live. So, you know, I had to watch that one, and it was really good. I really like approved of all the places he went to, and so I'm like, I guess I like the show. But he was just there in Amsterdam filming, so I'm really curious to watch that episode now when it comes out. I want to know where he ate, because I only ate at one restaurant. Maybe he'll go to FIBO though. Oh, and then that morning, I should have forgot to mention, on the way to the botanical garden, we ran into a wedding procession. Well, it was like, I don't know if you call it a procession if the wedding's already happened. They were leaving. It wasn't a church or a courthouse or anything. It was just a really nice building, but they're all like lined up outside the entrance, and the bride and groom walked down and they all cheered at them and everything. But the first thing we saw was all these people lined up on the canal, and a little tiny little boat pulled up, and on this boat it is laden down with musical instruments. And then when the couple came out, he started playing the wedding march. He's got trumpet, and he's got like some sort of like an organ thing, and he had everything. It was really cool. And that day was my wedding anniversary. The trip wasn't like to celebrate our anniversary, but it coincided with it, so it was kind of a anniversary trip with friends and family. But anyway, we spent our anniversary in Amsterdam, and that morning we ran into someone else getting married, so we were like, they're gonna share our anniversary. It was really a really sweet moment. Like, we just really enjoyed getting to watch this wedding party, have fun, seeing the couple dance, and this guy in the boat serenading them. It was a really special moment that I'm happy we could watch from a distance respectfully. And then the next day we took a train to Bruges in Belgium, and we stayed at the most lovely B&B, which I have to shout out, Guest House Mirabelle. If you're ever in Bruges, it's so nice. It was like a little more expensive. We were normally staying in like really cheap hotels, okay? We're not people who like to spring for nice hotels because we're barely there. Like, we don't spend time in hotels. Clearly, we're out walking 10 miles every day. So, we just got tiny cheap places. Although our hotel in Amsterdam had like no AC, and we were on the top floor. So that was not amazing. Everyone's messaging me. I'm trying to film. Though we did splurge for they made breakfast, which was amazing. Our room was adorable. Here's some pictures. And the lady who's really running it was just the nicest person. She gave us a map and was pointing out all her favorite places, her favorite chocolate shop, routes you can take to sightsee, and it was very ASMR-y, I'll say. As both me and my partner experience ASMR, sometimes we'll be like, and later we were like, did you get ASMR? Yeah, because she's like, and this is the way that you can go see this, and she's circling things and like ride. It was very relaxing. So we went back out after that, and we found Belgian waffles, which of course I have a big sweet tooth, so of course I'm going to eat Belgian waffles in Belgium. We got them at Chez Albert, and I don't know if there's a better place or not, but we loved Chez Albert so much that we went back multiple times. We were there for about 40 hours total in Bruges, and I had 4 Belgian waffles roughly every 10 hours. I was eating a Belgian waffle. I had them like every which way. I had them with strawberries and whipped cream, just whipped cream. I had it with dark Belgian chocolate, but my favorite was just plain with whipped cream, honestly. That was my favorite. So yeah, we each had 4 waffles, and again, didn't eat at any restaurants. Like, we were literally just eating Belgian waffles. And fries. I'm not a big fry chip person, but when in Belgium, so I ate a lot. My favorite one was this one, probably, where it was like a delicious savory mushroom sauce with cheese and green onions. Although, again, it was so insanely hot that day, and these fries were so hot that I'm sweating. Like, oh, these are so good. Amazingly, well, first of all, you'll be shocked to hear that my stomach wasn't thriving on a diet of all Belgian waffles and chips, French fries, but somehow I managed to not gain any weight on this trip because of the insane amount of walking that we were doing. I just thought that was really funny. I came home like, oh yeah, I'm sure I've put on like a pound or 2. Nothing. Due to the 12 miles that we were walking those days. Yeah, we probably walked over 12. I don't know. On the days we were traveling, we considered those light walking days, like taking the train for several hours, and we usually walked only about 5 miles those days. Every other day was like 10 to 15. But it was fun. Saw some cathedrals, walked around and just looked at the buildings. Got another waffle at the end of the day, and we just sat in the market square and enjoyed them. People watched, listened to the bells chiming in the tower. We did not get to climb the tower. You had to pay, first of all, like €8, which is not terrible, but we were already walking so much obviously I'm guilty of this too, being a non-European, of like romanticizing what Europe looks like. And you know, you watch like little cartoons and especially like, you know, Studio Ghibli depicts like European cities and stuff, and it's like so romanticized and beautiful, and everyone walks to the bakery and gets a baguette every day. So like that's how it looks in real life. And so there are a lot of Asian tourists there too. And I heard that one asked a local, I heard this from the person, that they were like, when does Bruges close? Because they thought it was one of those little European looking theme parks. So cute. It's adorable. The bike tour was great. Saw a beautiful convent that used to be home of female monks. I didn't even know there were female monks, but that's a really cool history, and now it's a convent. And saw this beautiful view on the bridge, and nearby there was a guy playing one of those, not a hurdy-gurdy, it's like a hurdy-gurdy but for like fairs, you know, you're like going like this and it's playing classic carnival fair sounds like dun 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 dun. He was playing one of those and it was just so European feeling. I'm such an American, I'm like and we were surrounded by other Americans and a Dutch couple, so everyone was enjoying the tour. We saw another windmill. I didn't know there were windmills in Bruges, but only one of them is real, and it's this one. It actually still works and it still grinds every day, but not enough flour to feed the city. But yeah, it's still there. And so that was one of our stops. Oh, and some of these pictures you can see my absolutely lovely sneakers that I wore. My partner makes fun of me every time I wear these because they're so bright pink and like colorful, but I like them, okay? They were my mom's shoes actually, so I inherited them from her. So I won't not make fun of them, but my partner hates how loud they are. Do you hate my sneakers? Tell me in the comments. We went to the Basilica of the Holy Blood after, which is said to have a relic, which is Jesus' blood. I don't think there's any blood in there anymore, but they bring it out like twice a day, and we happened to be there before they brought it out, and it's just a tube. It's just a tube that they put down, and you can go, I don't know, pray at it or something. I felt very out of place, to be honest, because I'm not religious. I did grow up religious, but I'm very much not anymore. I respect you to be religious and other people, but it's just not for me. So everyone's praying around this tube of blood, and I'm like, I feel weird. I should leave. But I actually really like going in old cathedrals and churches because they are amazing feats of architecture. One of these churches in Bruges took like 200 years to finish. I mean, can you imagine? It's just, it takes generations to finish this building. It's just, I can appreciate what they are. And they always have these massive organs, and they're just very cool to me. And so there's one church in Bruges that's free to enter, but you can pay to enter their like museum, go around the rest of it. So I did that. It's like €8 per person, and they have see some of the same sights, because Bruges is a very small city, so we saw everything like 2 or 3 times by the time we were done, but this time from the water, which is very nice, and to hear maybe a little bit more about the history of what we're looking at. And I think that was our last day. We went to that chocolate place that was recommended to us. It's called the Chocolate Line. Got some chocolates there, which are almost gone. Almost finished them. I've been eating so much chocolate, I've been breaking out. And the first day we were in Bruges, it was pretty busy, but that next day it was like all the people disappeared. Maybe because it was like a Tuesday, so it was just like a random day. I don't know, but the Monday was really busy. Or did we go on Sunday? Maybe it was Sunday, Monday, and that's why. But yeah, I think that was it. So Monday, there was like hardly anyone there, and I have so many pictures where there's hardly any people in them. It's kind of impressive looking. And that was our last day in Bruges. Because it's so small, we didn't want to spend too long there, so we just had 2 nights. We had one more breakfast the next morning, and like I said, breakfast was so good. I mean, look at this like plate of fruit that we had every morning. She gave you a little checklist, and you could mark what you wanted. And you know, I got like fruit, and I think I had like a croissant and some yogurt, juice, bacon, probably not an omelet, and then she always made a homemade dessert at the end. The first day was little Belgian waffles, and the second one was creme brulee, and they were amazing. Really couldn't recommend this place enough, and it had working AC. So that was the biggest thing. I really did not expect to be so hot all the time in Europe. Like, I grew up in Florida, if you don't know, where it's really hot, but there's AC absolutely everywhere. Most of the United States has AC. Maybe with some exceptions in like New York City, other places up north where there's old buildings, but most of America has AC, even in the hot places. So the infrastructure is just not made for AC in Europe. I found out only like 30% or less of Europeans have AC. So I think that's what makes Europe feel so much hotter than America or anywhere else that's really hot, is because there's just no escape from it. Like, I took my partner visited me in Florida when we were young and lived there, and it was so miserably hot, but we were always escaping into buildings to get AC. But in here on our vacation, you can't do that. It's hotter inside the buildings. Anyway, that was my complaint. The next day we went back to London, and I ate at Coco Chibania, which is another place that I was expecting to like. I've been there before and it was really good, but this time it just didn't hit the same. Wasn't as good. Maybe I eat a lot of Japanese curry. I eat a lot of Indian curry, Japanese curry, Thai curry. I just love curry. And I think I make it myself, katsu curry, that I'm not like trying to brag like I'm so good at it, but it just wasn't as great as I remember it being. We walked around Greenwich with a friend, saw some, I forget what this palace was called. It's free to go in, and there's a lot of beautiful artwork, like the Armada portrait of the Queen Elizabeth, and there's a famous portrait of Henry VIII, and outside you walk up, you get to the Royal Observatory. So you heard of Greenwich Mean Time? Well, that's where it is. It's there. I was like, oh, this is the time. And that's, the clock that everything is apparently set by. And there's also a set of measurements. So the British measurements, imperial, are they called imperial? I don't know. The British measurements are down there. So you gotta measure something to make sure you're getting 2 feet or, one guy next to me, some random guy I don't know, said the most anticlimactic thing we'd ever seen. Like, we were standing there for like a couple minutes waiting for this, and then the ball just went far less excitingly than it does New Year's Eve in Times Square. And then yeah, everyone, like 50 people gather around me, were like, well, I don't know what I expected. It's a red ball that dropped. But it was a nice day. The next day we spent with family again. We went, well, they came down from Yorkshire. One of my partner's sister and her little baby, and we took him to the Science Museum. We were gonna go to the zoo, but it was rainy. The first day that it rained in 2 weeks. It was the least rainiest, hottest time I'd ever been in England, I feel like. But it rained that day, of course, so we could not take him to the zoo. So we took him to the Science Museum, and he had a good time there. I'm obviously not gonna put in pictures of him. And the zoo was also insanely expensive. I thought it would be free. Like, I thought most inner city zoos are free. Like the one in Washington, D.C., the National Zoo is, and in Chicago, those are all free. But this was like £30 per person, which is kind of outrageous to me. So we then just walked around Kensington Gardens and took him to the Princess Diana Memorial Playground, which is a really, really nice playground. He loved it, and we all had a great time. It was a really nice playground. It was like our last day there. That night we spent it with more friends, and we did this really fun thing. I think it's called Fair Game. Look it up if you live in London. It's really fun, where you and your friends get together in this group and you play a bunch of fair games. So skee ball, basketball, shooting gallery, that one where you squirt water at a target, and it's inside, you're not in a fair, and you're all competing against each other. You do everything twice and you get the best score, and you can check on your phone who's doing best, because you have like a little wristband you tap in, and if you do really well in some of them you get free prizes. So 2 of our friends got free candy floss, and like none of us had had candy floss in so long, so it was nostalgic. But it was fun. We were there with 6 other people, other couples, and we all had a really nice time. I was the only American, as always, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the biggest deal, but I got those 3 books. And then while I was shopping around, I saw this book, Shatter Me. It's really popular. I have seen the Shatter Me books around for ages. They look like this, and I really didn't know anything about them because I'm terrible and I judge books by their covers sometimes. And this just looked, I don't know, not great. But I think I have a friend who's, I think she's read them all and she likes them, and so I thought, well, I should read it at some point. But Waterstones had this special edition of it, and you guys, I had to get it. It's one of the, it's like a hardback with no dust cover, and I love these. This is that's the edges. On the back it says, I have a curse. It's crossed out. It says, I have a gift. Underneath, I am their weapon. It's crossed out. I will fight back. So, they had Shatter Me, and they had the sequel to Shatter Me, which I forget what it's called, but there's like 5 books in the series, and I thought it's gonna be weird if I have 2 that are cool looking and the rest are not cool looking, so I just got 1. They are coming out with the rest of them, but obviously, you know, I don't live in the UK, so you can actually order like books from Waterstones, I think, in America, so maybe I'll look into that in the future when they are all out. But the last book I got is Like a Dream Department Store, and I had not heard of this book before I was in London, but it's in like every Waterstones, and a guy working there was telling me that it's fantastic, and it's like a spiritual successor to Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is a Japanese book that I've heard a lot about but never read. He said this is more whimsical and fun. I mean, look at it, it screams whimsical. This looks so up my alley. It's giving Barbie, Lisa Frank. I had to get it. It sounds amazing. It's about a girl who works in the dream department store where people come in and they buy what kind of dream they would like to have, which honestly sounds like an amazing premise for an ASMR roleplay, right? Like, hello, welcome to the dream department store. How can I help you? What kind of dream are you looking to have tonight? A flying used to it if you watch my videos, but I hope that I still know how to do this and that it was still relaxing and that you liked hearing about it. My bookshelf is expanded now, of course, so I'm gonna have to do another bookshelf tour. I do have a very fun bookish themed video coming up very soon if you like those. I'll be reading, doing some show and tell, doing some unboxing, a little bit of everything. So stay